Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Soul Fulfilling. Good to the very last drop. Hey, oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Well, I won't need this microphone right today. Today, the mics are not working. None of my regular things are, but my faith is working, and so I'm banging my R.I.G.A.S.A t-shirt, which it says, rest in God and say amen. Can you hear me, Sue?
I can. You're a little bit blurry on the camera.
That's okay. I can't do anything.
Okay. Okay. When you look beautiful in that shirt.
Thank you very much. Back to what I was saying before I started talking about R.I.G.A.S.A. Yeah, I know the camera is a little interesting, huh? Well, we got what we got. Let's see. Let me see if I can fix it up for just a minute and go right to this one. See if we can come down a little bit. Let's see if we can go here. See if that helps. That might help a little bit. Does that help, Sue? Am I better? Tell me a lie. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Come on into the room, everybody. It says I'm in the show. I know that. La 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 la. All right. Hi, Terry. Come on into the room. Let's see what I can see. There is everybody. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Come on into the room. I'm giving thanks right now for this beautiful time to be together. Taking a deep breath. Hi, Maxine. No he. Hey, is it no hi? No he. Cheryl, DJ Banks. Yeah, I got it. Hi, Sharon. So I give thanks for our moments together tonight at the hottest meetup in town called Soul Fulfilling and Soul Fulfilling Songs and Conversations. Yeah, this has been a very interesting day filled with a lot of wonderful things. I'm aware that I might look a little blurry to you. Most of my equipment stuff is not doing what it normally does, but I'm here. I can see myself. I can hear myself. You can hear me. And it might look a little blurry, but I know R.I.G.A.S.A is really big so that you can see it. So you can see that. So as long as you can see that, then you'll be reminded also to rest in God and say amen. Rest in God and say amen. So I allow myself. I become willing to be in this vibration that is in alignment with God, the Most High Presence, that loves everything we're doing here. And I just allow its presence to be fully expressed through me, through Reverend Dr. Kitrell Ross, through Sue Lingle, our producer, and through all who join in tonight for Soul Fulfilling Songs and Conversations. I'm thankful. And I just allow it to be. Amen. A.S.A. Oh, yeah. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Tonight, I have with me a brilliant son, one of the brilliant sons of thunder. What happened to him? Is he here? What happened to Reverend Kev? I don't see him anywhere. Well, I see his picture. But Dr. Kevin Kitrell Ross, affectionately known as Rev Kev, is an interfaith social justice and human rights activist committed to building Dr. King's beloved community through education, dialogue, and direct action. He's a lot of things. He's a family man. He's the man with the plan, who understands what we need to do in order to get on with community. He's an activist who really does an amazing work everywhere he goes, but specifically in hold on a second, let me turn my phone off. That's Tony Neville calling me. His aunt Mabel just made her transition. She was 94 years old, and she just crossed over in Chicago. Rev Kev, that's where they are, in Chicago. You're from Chicago. And so I'm not going to get distracted by Tony Neville. We just know that everything is working together with their family back there in Chicago. And I turn my attention now to you. What you got on? You got on a Harvard sweatshirt.
I do. It's rainy and cold here on the left coast of life. And so I've got my my hoodie on, Harvard hoodie on today. Thanks, Rickie, Mama Rickie, for letting me be on the program tonight. It's my joy to join you. I'm not only a son, but a fan. And I hope if and when you are singing, I can know some lyrics. Otherwise, I will do a great Milli Vanilli. and play along though. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it might really work if I'm just in real time with the computer. Okay. Usually, when I'm going through the other apparatuses, they you're second behind, so I play a little slow, just so you can catch up.
Okay.
But what I want to say about Rev Kev too is he plays piano, he writes songs, tries to sing.
I do. I try.
Yeah, you got a CD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, growing up in a household with a father whose background is music, my dad had his big break with the Wiz, and so he was with the Wiz, Dreamgirls, Evita.
Wait a minute. Is that your daddy?
My actual daddy, my blood daddy, Michael Ross. Yeah, so we grew up in a musical household. And so I actually grew up in the orchestra pit of these great productions. And because my dad is a lead guitarist and vocalist as well. And so my dad did not throw the ball with me when we were growing up. He put me at the piano or had me singing or had us playing instruments. And so this was the way I built relationship with dad, and so I do play a little piano and I do sing some, and it's just, it comes out of that musical tradition, including my mom. My mom plays piano too.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And in choirs my whole life,
Well, I'm not going to go through no long biography about you. I'm just going to say that when I met you, we were both younger. You were more younger than me.
And, I wasn't going to say so. I wasn't.
Yeah, you're a little bit younger. But I want to know about the Sons of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now when you went to Morehouse College, first of all, Reverend Kev grew up at Christ Unity Temple in Chicago, or maybe you didn't grow up there.
I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and I grew up at Christ Universal Temple with Dr. Johnny Coleman.
Yes.
In 1974, I was christened and baptized and all that in that tradition from birth. So I'm a New Thought baby from day one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you and I would come along and meet when I was about 16 years old. after having formed this tag team motivational speaking duo with my buddy, Dr. David Montgomery. He's now Dr. David Montgomery. He's an MD, PhD out of Atlanta. But we were teenagers at the time, and we were really responding to Nancy Reagan's challenge. This was about the time when the war on drugs had kind of populated the inner cities, and she was saying that there were really no positive Black role models and so forth. And we were like, we were surrounded. We were at Christ Universal Temple, so that's all we saw. And so we decided, we nominated ourselves to be positive youth motivational speakers and positive youth role models. And so we named ourselves, in tribute to the Sons of Thunder from the Bible, we named ourselves the Brothers of Thunder.
Yes.
And
Brothers of Thunder.
and we met for the first time, I think, out in LA when we spoke at a youth conference for Revelations. That's the earliest I remember.
Yeah. I don't even remember you that. I remembered you after graduating from Morehouse.
Yes.
And, when you came to Agape, and you came to my home.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Yeah. I remember that. You know. And I was like, he's smart.
What?
He gonna learn some things.
Yeah, you know, there's a story to be told. I don't know if I should use this moment to tell the story, but it was so right in that time frame. I had just accepted the youth minister position at Universal Truth Center, Dr. Mary Tompkins Church, right after graduating Morehouse. That's what I did immediately. And just before that, we had bumped into each other in South Africa at the Parliament of the World's Religions.
Okay.
So right after Parliament, I'm going back to Florida to work for Reverend Mary as a youth minister. Shortly thereafter, Reverend Michael calls me, says, bro, you need to come out here to LA and be my youth minister. I'm like, but I done signed the contract.
And you can't tell Mary Tompkins no. I'd like to see you do that, boy.
He said, I got your office ready. I said, man, I have signed. We got the car, the apartment, everything's all set up. And we talked for 3 hours. I said, I just can't even think. Now back then,
wait. He said you got the car and the apartment all set up.
No, Mary had set all that up. So
I was going to say, because I know that Agape didn't do that.
No. This was Mary. Mary had set up the part, everything I asked for. She pretty much had it set up.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was come back from South Africa and start working. So and so Rev got me just before. I was like, I cannot say no. So that part. So, but then thereafter, I would come out to Agape and participate any way I could, And,
Well, do you know that this song here? You know what song that is?
There is a power.
Yeah, you know who had inspired that song?
No, I don't.
Reverend Mary Tompkins.
Is that right?
That is Reverend Mary Tompkins' song, and I knew that Reverend Mary Tompkins, as well as Dr. Johnny Coleman, I knew that they didn't really get me. Barbara King got me. Barbara King understood exactly who I was, but because I wasn't a speaker. I wasn't verbally engaging that way. That my gift was music, and it was not gospel music and the kind of music that they subscribed to, right, or may have preferred. But they knew that when Michael came through the door, I'm there. So, and they saw this music building something,
right.
So I got respect, but I knew they wanted to like, I don't like they didn't know how to talk to me.
Well, Johnny Coleman. Very, very unique, incredible, Queen Mother presence in my life.
Yeah.
But was born in 1920.
Oh,
and
wow.
So the world that she came from
was different.
And was very different. And also and the world she was also challenged by,
Mhm.
you know, which was she was the first Black woman to desegregate unity, and so she always had a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And there was a unity way in which powerful female leadership looked like.
Looked.
You know,
And I didn't look like none of that.
And so no, you did not. You did not. But what she did have was she could feel spirit.
Yeah.
She could feel into the spirit. So even if it wasn't her flavor,
Yeah.
she knew good.
Well, you know, eventually I would become she would call me and my Rickie. So
yes.
I finally made the grade. But she didn't inspire the song.
Yeah,
Mary
Tompkins. And I can hear just out of those first lyrics, these are, you know, the first unity principles, New Thought, UFBL principles, one presence, one power, you know.
But they didn't come from her. Let me tell you.
It didn't come from Mary Tompkins?
No, it didn't come from Mary. What wrote the song was her energy. Like I went to a Panorama of Truth. Yes. That was the big conference that would happen from Christ Universal Temple, right? And or the UFBL.
Correct.
Was a Universal Foundation
for Better Living.
So they had a big conference in Las Vegas, and it was my first time showing up in the UFBL. And it was also my first time hearing Mary Tompkins. And Michael has said, wait till you hear Mary Tompkins. You got to hear Mary Tompkins. When she came on, she was talking about ideation, or she had 3 eyes. And she was talking about these 3 eyes. But her force was like, she knew it.
Yes. Yeah.
She knew it. Like, I mean, she was like in every part of her
being. Yeah.
She was shining it. All over, I would have some questions, but in that night, she was like extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
And I got the tape. Okay, so I got the tape of her speaking on one side, and on the other side was Michael Beckwith. Okay, so I'm listening to the energy of Mary Tompkins, and I flipped the tape over, and I got the words of Michael when he first started, you know, and he says, there's a power, there's a presence, one life of all, and there's no other power can exist outside of it, you know.
The infinite.
So I heard that, but I had the energy of Mary Tompkins, and I just like, there is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love, there can only be God's love. Oh, yes, I know that I walk. Oh, yes, I walk in the love of God. I did this one. There is a wisdom, a knowing, a loving, and a true. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Oh, just say, until it shows, I will pray, and I won't move until I know that I walk in the love of God. Oh, yes, I walk in the love of God. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's yummy. I was ready for the power. I was ready to. I
didn't know how good I sounded on the thing. How does the piano sound? Wait. How does the piano sound? How the piano sound?
Sounding great.
Okay. For the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere. I can feel it. It's
everywhere.
You see it is
everywhere.
I know in my heart, yes, the power and the glory and the love of God is every. I can see it is
Everywhere,
feel it is
everywhere.
oh in my heart. Oh yes, I walk in
In
the
the
love
love of
of God. Yeah.
Ooh.
Woo!
Hey,
Hey now.
all right.
So are you related to Diana Ross?
My brother tends to believe that. He's like the genealogist in our family. He's found lots of linkages. We haven't proven it yet, but he believes that. My brother, Michael, my other brother, Michael, my middle brother, Michael Ross.
Yeah,
He found some linkages. We haven't proven it. But
yeah.
do you know who I'm related to?
I always thought he was Diana Ross's brother.
Who? Michael Jackson?
Michael Ross.
Michael Ross. Depending on which Michael Ross you're speaking of.
I'm talking about your daddy.
Wouldn't we love that? Wouldn't we love that?
Well, you got all. Listen, you got all it takes to make you to be a superstar, and that's who you are. And always have been. In my book, when I first met you, I was like, wow, he's a very impressive young man. You were, and I don't mean this negatively, but you were so full of yourself, and it's very important sometimes to be full of oneself. It's important to have confidence and to know who you are. So when you went to Morehouse College and did your time with Dean Lawrence Carter and
served time with the dean.
That's my man. I love Lawrence Carter, man.
He's going to be at Unity of Sacramento with us on the 17th of December. We're going to be honoring him on December.
Wow. You will be honoring him.
Yes.
The one who honors everybody.
Yes.
I got something in here that he gave me years ago. Nobody ever gave me the things that he gave. He gave things like his heritage hall, or that the hall of honor underneath the Dean Chapel. Those of you who are on the chat, if you ever go to Morehouse College, you might not be able to go into that place, but it's beneath where the chapel is, the Martin Luther King R.I.G.A.S.A chapel, and you go down, and when you walk in, you have all these incredible portraits of great speakers, great ministers, and it's just the way of honoring that Dean Lawrence Carter had, of honoring those who have moved him deeply in some kind of way. And I ain't mad at him that he never put my picture up in there, but he did give me a whole lot of wonderful things. He invited me to be part of the release ceremony during the freshman week. Anyway, let me get to the conversation. Let me get to the conversation today. We kicking it over a bowl of popcorn right here. We got people in the thread who want to know who you are. So hey, Rhonda and Brahma Naaman. We got Maxine. Oh yeah, y'all better sing. We're getting down over here. And Maxine, Tony's auntie, her name is Mabel. It was Auntie Mabel. So welcome into the room, everybody. Terry Dean, everybody in here. Thank you for joining us. I see John Caesar here, Suzanne Baldwin, and others are coming. Because I'm not in my normal my normal setup, it's kind of hard to see some things that I'm used to seeing, but I can see a Rev Kev, and that's what's most important. I can see my guest who's here tonight. So this is, and I wanted to talk. Well, I'm enjoying talking about what we're talking about. What we're talking about is love. We're talking about the way one loves what one does and how that love moves them into action. Okay. I love music, and listening to Mary Tompkins moved me into action. It moved me into a song to express, because that is my great gift. My great gift is my fingers and my love for harmony and my wildness. I'm really out of the box, avant-garde kind of being, even though I play in the box for like somebody who is an avant-garde kind of person would go like, she don't sound avant-garde, but everything about what I do is out of the box. I'm not a constricted kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, you know, it's made the people around me have to stretch a little sometimes because especially in the traditional circles, like say the Mary Tompkin or the Johnny Coleman or even the Hillside, you know, the traditional, especially these centers that are run by that have women ministers too, you know, but it's like
But when you say traditional, you see, Rickie, when they were coming along,
they
you know,
weren't
they
traditional.
weren't traditional at all.
No,
They were spirits in rebellion
yeah,
themselves.
but it happens along
And
the
so,
journey.
and then their paradigm became normalized, and then you come along, another spirit in rebellion, so to speak, and you're expanding the mold. But they were considered wild and out of touch with the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah,
But this is what trailblazers and pioneers do, and
yeah.
they have to take up, considerable space that's
Mhm.
been, reserved for, old norms. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Well, when I first met Johnny Coleman, you guys may not know who Johnny Coleman is, but she's worthy of 4 sessions of soul fulfilling of a whole season.
yeah,
That's how bad Johnny Coleman was. And she informed so much of what happens in New Thought. You might not know that,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, but she did. And even, I mean, she left the Unity organization, but she did more for Unity, I think, than some of the people who get notarized, you know, that you know very well, like
yeah.
Eric Butterworth and all of them. But she came through and she really took the principles and ran with them.
And Dr. Johnny Coleman, as you're mentioning, has what she did was called Unity up
Yes,
to
she did.
be congruent with
Yes,
its principles.
yes.
Just a couple bars on her. She was the first African American to sleep on the grounds at Unity Village at a time when the Unity message was theoretically inclusive, right?
Uh-huh.
But practically, it was keeping in line with Jim Crow segregation at the time. And
Yeah.
so while she was allowed to take classes and be in ministerial school
Mhm.
on the Unity campus, she
Yeah.
was not allowed to sleep on the campus, play in the golf course, swim in the swimming pool, and all of that. This was at Unity World Headquarters. And
Yeah, at the headquarters.
so she made a stand along with her colleagues. She says, if I can't do what everybody else can do, I'm out of here. And so her classmates organized a petition, and one of those classmates was Catherine Ponder, and they took a stand. And ultimately, she did desegregate, not integrate,
Mhm.
because we're still working to integrate Unity fully.
Mhm.
That's an ongoing thing. But she desegregated Unity, and right now we've been working on a project to have the building named in her honor, and so that will happen soon. That's some of her proteges like me, her spiritual son. That's one of the things that I've been actively working towards, so that the story can continue to be told. Because if we stop telling the story, you see,
Mhm. Mhm.
then we can allow history to repeat itself, and
Mhm.
it's not completely impossible for that to happen.
Mhm. Well, you know, with the music of I find what you're talking about in the music and what is becoming what is changing, at
Mm-hmm.
least there's a festival that was started by Richard McDeesey
Yes.
and Sue Riley, called the Posse Palooza, or the
Mm-hmm.
Posse Festival,
Yes.
Positive Music Festival.
Mm-hmm.
He was inspired by that by attending uh, an Agape Music Symposium.
Yes.
That's where he got his vision,
Mm-hmm.
and and they wanted to have awards programs, and I always said I'd never liked music awards programs, but they did them for years, the Posse Awards. But this year they're not doing it. They're not doing it this year because the people don't want. They said the artists didn't feel good being paired against each other, and
Mm.
I thought that was fabulous because I never liked it anyway. And I, but I started going again in 2019, and then COVID happened, and there was no festival until 2022. At that time, I was invited to come and do a concert on the lawn at Unity Village outside. It was extraordinarily beautiful by the waterfalls, and 4 other African American women showed up. One from Omaha, Nebraska, one from Unity, San Francisco, one from Massachusetts, Candida Rose. She from all over there, and there was the one from your church, Redalia
Kilson. Yes,
yeah,
that's my musical director.
Yeah. But I didn't bond as closely with her as I did with the other 3, and looks like there was one more. Oh, Faith Rivera was there, and Faith knew everybody.
Yeah.
So she introduced you. She was like, she's bad, and so when I did my concert, I called them all up, and they rocked. My God is so good to me with me, So I gave them the words. They had never sung it before, and I'm like, it's like, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing,
God is so good.
I got up this morning singing,
God is so good.
My God is so good to me. And we got to know each other. They got to sing with me. I sang with them. You're talking about a presence that was at that place.
Yeah.
And it was the best festival. It was one of the best, because there was another one in 2019 that was through the roof. But Darrell Steele, who passed on, who was a guitar player, I met him, and together we infused that place with something. Eddie Watkins Jr. I mean, folks, there's something special about people who are just special, who got that tone. And it's not just Black people who are special, but there are artists who are in their thing, and they know who they are, and they know how to express from the love. So they had all the greats there. I mean, Karen Drucker and Daniel Nahmod, and Peter Roth, and all these great singers were there. And then in come Omaha, Nebraska, Gamora is a bad girl. I mean, Lisa Malone over there in San Francisco. I mean, when they sang, you knew something else was happening. Like, we need it all. We need us all in harmony, doing what we came to do.
Yes.
Just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
When you have that. So you're right. They were trailblazers. And by the time I came along and you came along, and Dr. Sheila McKeithen comes along, and the new breed is coming. You were younger than we were, but you were right up to par in a lot of ways. You were way more advanced than your years. And well, look what you came from, though.
And that's exactly, I can't take any personal credit. I was going to say, growing up in that environment.
And then your dad?
Yeah. Growing up on the set of The Wiz, those messages. When I remember in first grade, to just give you a taste of to kind of a tag on what you said earlier about being full of myself. But I was in the first grade. The teacher said, Miss Lewis said, "Okay, kids, welcome to day 1 of first grade. Please tell us your name and something interesting about yourself." And when it got to me, I stood up and said, "My name is Kevin Kitrell Ross, and I am a unique, unrepeatable miracle of God."
Well, this is first grade?
This is first grade.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
My name is Kevin Kitrell Ross, and I am a unique, unrepeatable miracle of God.
I'm going to write that.
But that's what I was learning in Sunday school. And back then, I went to our church had 3 services at the time, and I did 2 Sunday schools and 1 adult service. And then I started doing 2 adult services and one Sunday school, and I did this for years. And my mother went through all the classes, so I was always there from the time I could.
That's like kind of like Georgia.
Hey, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like
Was
Georgia
born in
State.
that environment.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, absolutely. So that's where, you know, when that's your first language.
Yeah.
You know, and so my first grade teacher said, "Oh, it's going to be a long year."
So look, I am a unique, unrepeatable
miracle of God.
miracle.
That's what I said.
She should have been happy about that. You know,
she said, it's going to be a long.
She said, "Get your little unique butt and sit down."
Yes.
Like my grandson was in kindergarten. When he went, I was like, he ain't gonna be here long, because he had such love.
Yeah.
He had way too much love.
Yeah.
For the box that they had for him.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like what happened with me at Agape. I just, you know what I mean? I grew to the place because I was kind of raised at Agape with the, you know, with the New Thought teaching. I didn't get it coming in the door.
Mm-hmm,
I began my training at in 1975, but by the time 87 came, it was time for me to really have a teacher, a real teacher, you know, and my soul was calling for it. Everything about my life was calling for it. And I was a little 37-year-old, went in there and sang, and, you know, and met a destiny that would unfold, that would give me, that would introduce me to my real self. And it was an amazing journey. And I really do believe that near the end of it, because when it's time to go and leave what you thought was your home, you know, but the universe is saying, it's not your home. I'm your home. Not even the universe. God is saying, because God is creator. God is greater than even the universe.
Yes, yes,
so, you know, it's like, no, we love you. Your love is beyond your love. There's more for you. What we want for you. We want you to feel our love more than you're feeling the ceiling of where you are. You've hit the ceiling. You know, you've hit the ceiling here, and it didn't seem to be giving. So it was just like I was lifted out in a very elegant way. When I look at it, I'm very thankful.
You know, I want to just comment on that and this time of year, but to the effect of that, there was two effects of that for me. One, it was like one of the United States just fell off the map. That like my worldview shattered. The part of my world was built around the legacy that the two of you created and the Agape community created. So I was a witness to the moment and all of this. So I went.
Yeah.
But then there was this other part of it that was all about courage to stay on the path. How many of us can keep on reinventing ourselves inside of a calling, even after we have so-called achieved success? Sometimes we make icons out of our successes. And we bow down and worship the success. Right. and like, this is it. And the spirit says, no, that's great. And all of this is now, that's the past. Even though it's still sparkling and it's still new to everybody else, you are an unfolding idea in the mind of the infinite. And when you can really connect to this, I am an unfolding idea in the mind of the infinite. And the mind of the infinite is not limited to a geographical time or place. And I think that's a word for people right now at the end of the year, when we're coming to the close of a year, where we're now having to evaluate and reevaluate and assess and reassess and answer the question, what truly makes me come alive? And am I responding to the call of the genuine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so hard to do when you're comfortable and when you have achieved much. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to acknowledge you for being able to pull out of that shell of your former version of yourself and press into this next level, because it's a message.
Yeah.
It's a message. And even in the pain and the messiness and the whatever of it, we're still metamorphosizing, you know, and becoming the next thing. And trust and believe someone like me, in the minds of people who know me well, you know, have me framed up just so, you know.
Yeah, so
So
they know who you are.
exactly. And
They
I'm going,
got you.
well,
They
you
got
better
you.
tell me.
You in the frame. They got you framed.
Yeah. And I think I played a part in helping give people an idea of who I am because of what I do.
Yeah.
But I am still in the query of the what's that, spirit? You know what? Okay, and so you want me to release this version of myself that I've had. I've worked very hard to get to, because I'm done with that version of you. Now there's this version of, and to say goodbye to that version of yourself, it is so but I think there's important announcement for folks to really ask, am I responding, as Howard Thurman says, to the call of the genuine?
Yeah, he says what the world needs are people who
Come
come
alive.
alive. And believe me, I wore my Howard Thurman sweatshirt for years from that I got from Omega Institute, and that was the quote on it, and it was true. You know, and I know how to leave. You know, but I wanted to stay. You know, and I think that but all of that was good for me, and Agape was very good, and the music that I was able to
Contribute, yeah.
Discover is the word that it was like it was something else. It was beyond what I had been doing. The music that I was writing was very beautiful music, you know.
Oh, no doubt about it.
The
It's
music,
arguable, you know.
the music that I wrote for the choir,
Mm-hmm.
you know, would become a very holy book of songs that would be dear. And it's never happened before like that in New Thought. Never, ever.
No.
So you know, and you know, it's just like I'm so thankful that I got to do that, you know.
You know,
And we got to do it.
Yes. Once in a lifetime event in human history that was, but it literally raised the ceiling, and it expanded. It opened us to a whole nother way of being New Thought and being human, for that matter. You see, because it's timeless. The music is you see that you can play a couple bars and I'm on, you know, like just like that. And so it's encoded. It's really encoded in so many of our stories. It's in the back, it's running in the background of so many of our testimonies right now, such that we can pull on it as levers in the moment where there is a need. So that was definitely meant to happen. And it had to happen in the way it happened, and so it is still happening in its own iterations.
Yeah, it's still very much alive in the hearts of people.
It's in all of us.
It's great when I go places and these young people come up.
Yeah.
I mean, like teenagers and like 20s and now 30s, and they have this look on their face and they go like, my mom played Om Shanti every day when we were going to school, you know, and thank you for your music, because those songs get me through now. I mean, these are people in their testimony. So I feel good about what happened there. And I can look back on all of it with such gratitude, you know, such gratitude. I don't have a complaint about it. You know, it was like, that's where the music got. I got to launch music that goes all over the world. You know, a body of work, and continue in writing. I see John Caesar's on. He says the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with Rev Kev in Georgia, starting, and the list goes on. No, yeah, and Georgia, also,
John.
she carries that, you know, and she carries it into her activism. And I believe that, you know, I was looking at some of your town hall meetings. I wanted to talk about some of that, but I don't know if we're going to have time tonight. But I really love the meeting with Flojo, Flojo Kofair.
Yeah. Yes.
Flo,
Yes.
Dr.
Flo,
Flojon. She. They say
Dr.
there's a go flow, go flow, go with the flow, go with Dr.
Yes.
Flo.
Yes. Yes.
And Dr. Flo is running for a mayor. She's a mayoral candidate
Yes.
who is incredible. And actually, my newsletter publishes probably tomorrow or either Friday. And I wasn't able to get it in time to have your picture in it, Rev Kev. But and the reasons why it's late publishing is because I had written an article about you and Dr. Flo.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, I'd written in my message. I was talking about what she said about government being rooted in love, you know, and it's not foo-foo the way she says it. She's like on it. She's done her work. She knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
I mean, that was a bad interview.
Yeah.
And so I'm featuring you guys in January, so I ain't gonna talk too much about it now.
Okay.
Oh, you know, but I had a quote from her. But anyway, she's talking about love. So I have my questions for you, but I feel like they're getting answered. How do you get people to not just wade in the water, but to swim in the deep waters of change? You know.
Wow. Well, you have to have an ethical bribe.
Wait a minute. You got me writing. You got me writing again.
Yeah, you got to have an ethical bribe because it is an invitation into, often when you invoke change, the conversation of change, though we all somewhere know that it's an inevitability, there is this thing within us that has such resistance and such fear around change. And so building a bridge that engages people, like say, if you come here, I got a little something for you over here. And what I call the ethical bribe. The ethical bribe can look like, I guarantee you, if you take this step forward, there's a version of yourself that you're going to be surprised. There's some kind of way that inspires people to get beyond the fear of the unknown, the fear of the unexplored, and the fear, and more than anything, the fear of failure and what other people will say about it. What I've learned of late, most people are stagnant in life, up against big dreams, big goals, and the world inside of them that's trying to come out because of their paralyzation with other people's opinions and what the world is going to think about what they do or not do.
Yes.
And so when I say ethical bribe, that is, it's like the parent saying, if you finish all of your spinach, you can have ice cream with your dessert. That kind of thing. It is, the intent is to support the health.
And my family was like, you might get dessert, not no.
See, that was a semi-ethical.
That wasn't no bribe. That was a threat.
That was a demand, right? But it's a lure. You want to have there should be some positive temptation.
Well, I think that's interesting, and that's very good. Thank you for sharing that ethical bribe. I never I never thought of it as a bride. I'm thinking about the bridges that the way I did it,
Mm-hmm.
in especially with music and going into the community with the service work that I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never had anything but a powerful love and a pure vision of what it is was that we wanted to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So the Spirit filled me with the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like with many of the projects that I did through Kaumba in Motion, I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Mm-hmm.
the ethical bribe was the colorful bus.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the
See?
ethical bribe was the art that held the container.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, and the kids would show up, and they would come from different places, but nobody could deny that bus was wild.
Yes.
It had waves and all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
on it, and it was a beautiful school bus that we painted.
Yes.
And when those kids got on the bus and we started singing, P-O-W-E-R, we got the power cause we are the Kaumba camp. And then one kid would go like, my name, I began, my name is Rickie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm first on the list. I got my reputation because I do it like this. And everybody would have to do it
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this. We do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
P-O-W, and we do this. We go around to all the kids, and they would have to show the way they did it.
Yes.
Even the ones who were shy about doing it, they might go, I got my reputation because I did. And everybody would go like, she does it like I mean, she I mean,
Right.
from 5-year-olds up to 12, 13-year-olds, everybody would be acknowledging the unique, unrepeatable miracle of God that was showing up in every person's expression.
Exactly. But if you told them we're having a camp so that you can come and express your unique
Right.
unrepeatability, we're not. But the ethical bribe is fun and
Yes.
music and
Yes.
play and
Yes.
art and
Yes.
that part.
Yes. Yes.
And and that gives me, that feeds my desire and causes me maybe to overlook who I must become to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Who I must become to be there. Think about the master teacher walking on the water.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter is standing there going, that is so cool. I want to come out here and do this thing. And so
Jesus said, come on.
Said, come on, you can do it, Peter. And you're talking about walking over the deep. I mean, this is, who did Peter have to become? But it was so cool. It was so cool until Jesus's temptation toward his faith. The temptation appealed to his faith. The temptation appealed to a side of him that was probably dormant up to that point because the end point was just too incredible. And maybe his ego got involved. Well, if one man can do it, I know I can do it. Yeah. And got out there, right? Mm-hmm. And he was walking on the water for a time, you see. Mm-hmm. And so there is and why would Jesus extend that invitation? Because he is recognizing that the same presence of power working in me is working in you, and for the love of seeing that aliveness in him, he invites him out, and Peter 4 minute is out there,
Yeah. Well, and the other part is that Peter gets to know.
Yes.
You are somebody. But he already knew because he's standing out there. I mean, it's a really great metaphor for how to behold oneself. Mm-hmm. How to be with God. How to be with faith.
And keep your eyes, That's the other thing. A powerful example. We have to have examples of people who shine. This whole thing of playing small and withholding our light is so not just dangerous to the self, but it's dangerous to the people around us. No matter how short you think you are and insignificant you think you are, somebody is looking up to you and somebody is being inspired by your light. You know, and so there's that part that compels a person, you know, the person that comes up to you and say, Rev Kev, you don't know, I've been following you for all these years, and every time you do something, I say, you know what, I you know, I can't rest on my laurels. I'm he wrote a book, I'm writing a book. He went to college, I'm going back to school. And we don't even know the extent to which we're inspiring.
That's very true. Now I got a question. When, because you got all those ministers on the front line to face the police. What was the ethical bribe to get them there?
Well, you know, everybody didn't take it, but I talked to them about the principles. I talked to them. We were in this particular instance, I think you're referencing, because there are many of them, but there was one instance where we were having an AG&T meeting at Unity of Sacramento doing one of our rallies, and Sacramento was an active arena, I'll use that term, where Stephon Clark had just been shot and killed by law enforcement, and he was an unarmed Black man, and you know that narrative. And so there were demonstrations going on. There was a protest and a counter protest happening, and clergy were needed to kind of neutralize the violence. And so I talked to my colleagues in a meeting. I said, you know, I know we're here to do this. I said, but clergy are being called into this protest and counter protest situation that can really turn violent. And I need some of you all to come with me to hold consciousness in the middle of this thing, to neutralize not people's ability to articulate their sense of frustration and their demand for justice, not to take that from them, but to create a field in which it could occur and people came home unharmed physically. You know, this was the intent. And so there are a couple that said, I'm in, you know, immediately, and jumped up and joined me, and others said, we'll do it from here. You know, and I didn't judge on, you know, who came and who went. And then of course we met several other clergy down there, and what we did is we formed a human chain in the middle of this, you know, these protesters and counter protesters, and we held consciousness right there in the middle of the streets where police and mounted horses, and they were about to do the tear gas and the whole nine. And ultimately, I and another member of clergy then negotiated with law enforcement to give us a little more time so that they could, the young people, much younger than me, who are there ready to, you know, continue this act of civil disobedience. They were there, maybe not fully educated on the affects of being arrested. So if Rev Kev got arrested that night, there was a whole team watching for Rev Kev. They'd be right there to bail me out. But let's say some of those young people had previous offenses, right? And they got arrested. That could have been the end for them. You know? I said so we negotiated and said, look, give me 5 more minutes to just do a quick seminar so people know if you're planning to be arrested, you know, if you're planning to stay out here, this is what could possibly happen. And they did. They allowed us to have that. But I think it had everything to do with the consciousness that we brought to that space, and people home unharmed, and it ended in a beautiful way. And I'm grateful that that happened in this town, to just model the possibility of that.
Well, that's amazing. It's a great story. And it's also a great story that you open up your sanctuary for the town hall meetings. And I mean, I looked at the one you did with Cornel West, and he was talking, blessing the musicians and everything. Cornel is so funny.
Oh my God.
But you know, my favorite interview was Dr. Flo. I guess
she's just
super.
She's super fat. That's my Spellman sister.
I know y'all deep in the heart there. Deep in the heart. You know. Yeah. But you know, I didn't graduate from Morris Brown, but I'm going to get.
You were there. You know that whole.
I know the whole AU. You know, it was incredible. You know what you get from going to the historical Black colleges and universities, and African American. What you get. But anyway, what I wanted to also say of what Cornel West said. He said that music is not just, music is not ornamental. He said it's not ornamental. He said it's constitutive to our living. It's like, and I hope I said the word right, but the way he says it's not ornamental. He said these people, this is ministry. This is,
Yep.
this
Yes.
this is music is not just, she's a musician. Music, vital.
Yeah. He
Music
wanted,
is vital.
and we knew that he loved John Coltrane, and so we
Yeah.
wanted to bring that Coltrane vibration there as a incubator.
Yeah.
So he could be writing his flow,
Yeah.
come on up there,
Yeah.
feeling the embrace, but
Yeah.
also to just name the force that music is as a transformative tool in our world. We don't, there's almost nothing that is meaningful and transformative that doesn't have a soundtrack to it. It's just almost nothing. From a commercial on television to, in fact, from this point forward, I invite us to just be attentive to all the ways that music is either in the foreground or the background, causing something to occur, whether it's a type of nationalism that can be violent and leverage for violence, or whether that is a harmony and a love. Like I told you, my favorite song is the love song, where
I was going to sing it. I think we're out of time. I was going to sing it for you.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It all has its place, and it's an important place.
Yeah,
I don't know where we are in time.
We're kind of flowing a little bit, but the sound is divine. And divine sound is extraordinary. It's like the healing sound of God, the healing sounds of nature, the healing sounds of the soul. That's not a light thing. That's an extraordinary thing. And my life is testimony, is a testament to that, because it's laced in sound from the beginning.
And that's, if we're going biblical, that is the first sense activated.
Craig Hamilton.
God said, God uttered, God called.
Well, she sang it. She sang it.
Yeah, yes. God
She sang. She said, "Let there be light."
Yes.
And there was light.
Yes. So this the auditory was called forth first. Yes.
Love, be encouraged. Love, we'll see you through. Love, be the first to love. Fill your heart with love. Be about it. Sing a song about love. Never doubt that. Love, full dimensional love is our shelter. Love, now and always. Love, before and after. Love gives you courage. Love mends your heart. Love, it's the best thing. Love, you can't go wrong with. Love, because it's eternal. Love, and it has no end. Love, so stand on up for love. Inspirational love is our shelter. Love, now and always. Love, before and after. Love. Give us a prayer, Rev.
And so, riding on the wave of this powerful love vibration that is now sensed and felt deeply in the heart and soul of everyone who is attentive to what's happening, either live or in the reverb of this powerful experience, we are quickened with the activity of the whole Spirit of God, infusing us, reminding us, reviving us, recharging us, filling us to overflowing, and that we are answering completely and totally yes to the call of the genuine, to call for greater love, peace, joy, harmony, beauty, and magnificence on this earth plane. So help us, God. So guide us, keep us, And watch over our Queen Mother Rickie. Continue to enrich the gift that you have given to her. Keep your arms around her heart so that it is always a window for even greater good in the world. And so it is. So we are.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Rev Kev, for that.
My joy.
I love you.
Love you back.
You got to come on another time, okay?
I'm happy to do that. We can have a part 2.
Part 2, yeah.
Part 2.
My love to Anita and all them beautiful babies.
Thank you. I will convey.
Ashe.
Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say